You can't diagnose an EPC Light without getting yourself a scanner. This is the AutoLink AL319. I left the link for it below. It's like 30 or 40 bucks on Amazon. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be talking about the EPC Light that comes on a lot of Volkswagen vehicles. This is my 2012 Volkswagen GLI, and we're going to pretty much go over the common causes of why this light appears. I did a video before about a couple years ago which went over what caused my light to come on, which is basically a vacuum leak in the actual intake system. It got a lot of views, and I'm guessing a lot of people are having issues with the EPC Light and trying to figure out what's going on with their car. So here's the breakdown on what causes that. So the EPC Light will come on when your engine's running a little rough. 9 times out of 10, what causes it is your coil packs. And we're gonna go over some scan codes that you might have. After you scan your car, this is what might pop up. If you're pretty familiar with the Volkswagen 2.0 TSI engine, you'll know that the intake manifold is one of the failure points. It'll cause a code of P2015. When that goes out, you'll have some rough idling, and that will cause an EPC light to come on. When you're getting that replaced, it is also highly recommended to get your valves cleaned. Now, this is only really applies to the turbo engines because the valves tend to get a lot of carbon buildup, and that'll also cause an EPC light. This is your intake manifold. Mine has been replaced already. It is very tedious to replace. It is a real pain, takes a long time. Try to avoid removing this at all ways possible unless it is bad. Unless you do need to get it replaced, then by all means get it replaced. I have mine replaced once and it's been running fine. I've had my valves cleaned once and I haven't had any issues since then. Okay, so let's say your intake manifold's fairly new, it's been replaced, your valves are pretty clean. The next thing you want to check is your coil packs. Your coil packs will fail as early as 44,000 miles. Really early for something like that to fail, but it does happen. So if you're pulling up codes on your scanner of P0300, 0301, 02, 0304, those are pretty much just telling you which cylinder is having the misfire. 00 actually means there's random misfires. It could be something other than the coil pack entirely. We won't know, but it's best to get those checked. And if you haven't replaced them, just go ahead and replace them anyway. A quick way to be sure that coil pack is bad is to actually do a swap over. Now, what I mean by that is to remove your cover. Those are your coil packs. Yours might be black, mine are red. Easy to replace. You just pop this back, that unclips it, and you could just literally pull this up and swap it to a different location. So the scanner says this one is bad. Cylinder 2 misfire. Okay, this one's misfiring. Let's remove the coil and put it over here. With it swapped over, scan your car again and see if the error code has now switched over to 0304. If that's the case, you know that coil pack is bad. The error code should follow the bad coil pack. Now if it doesn't, now that could mean it could be a bad plug. If you've replaced the plugs, then that could mean it could be a bad fuel injector. Those are usually the only main causes. Now, if you're replacing your coil packs, you might as well replace your plugs as well. You replace the coil packs, you replace the plugs, and you're still having issues. This has happened to me. Replace your fuel injectors. They get clogged up, they get dirty. Mine failed around 80,000 miles. Those are a little trickier to get to, and we're back at the intake manifold. The fuel injectors actually sit on the intake manifold. So there's 4 fuel injectors that sit underneath, but they're attached to the intake manifold. Again, you would have to get this off, which is a whole mess. I've been trying to set up a DIY to get this off faster. There just really isn't. And there's videos out there on how to do it. It just takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, and the right tools. I'll try to work up a DIY video if I get enough requests for it. Again, 80,000 miles. My fuel injectors were filthy. I replaced them. All my problems went away. No more misfires. EPC light's gone. Check engine light's gone. Everything was running perfectly. So sometimes when those fail also, your car will go into limp mode and it will just not even have, it will just have no power behind the pedal. And it's really frustrating. You just can't drive the car at all. As soon as I saw my injectors, I knew they were bad. All the tips were pretty much just black and all the little holes just clogged. Again, so that pretty much covers the main causes of an EPC light. There could be other things that also cause it, and there was some interesting comments in the previous video, and I'm gonna just go over those and see if they help. All right, someone recommended changing your PCV, your pressure control valve. That could also cause it. What happens there is it ends up leaking. I believe there is kind of a seal there that can go. It's possible. This is your PCV. Now this could end up leaking. This is also attached to this that goes in here, and it's a really easy job. There's just these screws and they're all on top. Pop it off, pop a new one on. Those don't fail often, but they do fail, and that could definitely cause an EPC light. I had one comment saying mine was an oil leak on the mass airflow sensor. I guess that's also a probable cause where your MAF sensor is. It is attached in here. Yours would be different. My intake is probably different than the factory one, but it's connected to this switch here, and that pretty much reads the air coming in, and your computer will kind of adjust the air fuel ratios with that reading. Someone says EPC light on. Perhaps you have an old battery under your hood. I don't believe an old battery would cause an EPC light. Perhaps if the light came on and also your battery light came on, I could see that as a possibility. Hasn't happened to me though. If it's happened to you, I mean, chime in. I wouldn't go straight to battery though. One user recommended to just clear the codes. If your car's running fine, sometimes these EPC lights just come on randomly. If your car's running fine and there's no other real issues, I would say just go ahead and clear the code. If the code comes back, then scan it again, see what pops up. Something's obviously happening. Rest of the comments kind of lean towards coil packs. Bad coil pack will cause that light to come on. A lot of people said just replace the coil packs, check them, and yeah. So now you know how to check them. Again, you don't have to replace all your coil packs if you know which one is bad. And with that little test I showed you, you can figure out for sure if it's bad or not. I would recommend replacing all of them just for a little peace of mind. And while you're in there, go ahead and do your spark plugs as well. Alright, so that pretty much covers the most common issues for that. I would recommend just getting it scanned, number one. Find the code, Google the code, and that'll tell you exactly where to look. From there, you could just decide on how you want to fix it. Take it to a shop or do it yourself. There's other things that can cause EPC lights. I'm not saying there isn't. There are those little things that can cause EPC lights. Like you saw, a small vacuum leak could cause an EPC light. Anything that can cause this car to run funny is going to give you an EPC light. So just keep that in mind. This is just something to kind of steer you in the right way. Hopefully it helped you out, and if it did, give this video a like and subscribe for more content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.